and the U.S. military confirming a new strike against drug traffickers, this time in a new area of operations. Our Washington correspondent Eduardo Martinez is in studio with us to discuss the latest on that, as well as the government funding battle. Louise, the Secretary of War confirmed another strike on drug traffickers. What makes this one different from some of the previous ones that we've seen?
So, Steve, this is the 8th strike conducted by the U.S. military against cartels in Latin America, and this is the first that has happened or occurred in a different area of operation. So we know that the previous 7 happened in the South Caribbean Sea. This one happened in the Eastern Pacific. Now, it's important to note that, yes, you have Venezuela with the Cartel of the Suns that is exporting drugs, Colombia being the largest producer of drugs in the world, and of course in the region. But then you have Colombia and Ecuador on the Pacific side being the main exporting ports for drugs coming to the United States. Usually they stop in Mexico and then are smuggled through the border. So it's very important to note that the U.S. military is expanding this area of operation, and it's also continuing these strikes now, the 8th one in the past month.
Now, Louise, it's day 22 now of the government shutdown, officially the second longest. I don't know if that's a proud moment for our nation's history. But what is the latest you're hearing from Congress, and what's the next important milestone or inflection point that could move lawmakers in the direction of opening up the government?
Well, Steve, the latest that we had from today is that senators voted for a 12th time to try and reopen government, and because of the lack of Democratic support for the continuing resolution that was put for a vote, we still have a shutdown. And the vote was scheduled for earlier today, but since yesterday at 6 p.m., Senator Jeff Merkley, the Democrat from Oregon, had taken the Senate floor and took 22 hours talking about what he called was President Trump's authoritarian tendencies, and of course ate up all of that floor time, had pretty much every Democratic senator take turns asking him questions to extend what Republicans called a publicity stunt. Let's listen to what Senator John Cornyn had to say about what Jeff Merkley did today.
I'm not listening. I don't know what he's saying. I think it's purely performance art. He's trying to put on a show for his base back home, his political base. It means nothing in terms of the functioning of the Senate or trying to work out some of the problems that we have or reopening the government.
And Steve, I think the next big date that we should keep an eye out for in this funding battle is November 1st. November 1st is when open enrollment for the Affordable Care Act, or Obamacare, begins, and that's when many Americans will potentially receive information on how their health care might have increased in cost. But also very important, on November 1st is when SNAP, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, will stop delivering aid in most states. Let's listen to what Senator John Fetterman had to say about this.
At this point, I just want to get the government open. At this point, it's not blaming or who's winning or who's losing, because the guarantee who is losing, and that's Americans right now. I am now fighting to opening because of the 2 million Pennsylvanians that are on SNAP, and those funds are running out. 2 million people in Pennsylvania depend on this to feed themselves and their family.
So, Steve, for example, for Senator John Fetterman of Pennsylvania, he has 2 million of his constituents who will stop receiving important Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program aid, and only 426,000 people who will have their health care costs increase. And nationwide, it's 22 million people who might see an 18%, 20% increase to their health care costs, but 42 million Americans who depend on the SNAP program who will stop receiving aid. And of course, that's on top of the 1.5 million military active duty personnel who might not get paid after November 1st, and the entire federal workforce. So it is a messaging battle, what we're seeing in Congress, but clearly the shutdown is hurting more Americans than what Democrats are allegedly fighting for.
Yeah, certainly the real world effects of this shutdown are about to get very real, like you said, throughout the whole federal workforce, which touches different sectors. NTD's Eduardo Martinez, really appreciate it.